Hey you guys, I want to share a story with you today, and that is the story of the Ethiopian eunuch in the book of Acts chapter 8. And so I love this story because it shows us about obedience. It shows us what could happen if we have an open heart and we're honestly seeking God for the answers of our soul. And so what ends up happening in this story is you have Philip, who is one of the apostles, and he's down in Samaria. And as he's in Samaria, the Holy Spirit nudges him and basically tells him to go towards this guy. And so there's this Ethiopian eunuch. There is this person who is from Ethiopia. They went to Jerusalem and they're on their way back home. They're stuck kind of in this area. And in my mind, I imagine it being, desert area, of course. And he is with a caravan. He is a very successful person. The Bible tells us that he worked for the queen. And so he is carrying a lot of her treasures with him. He has all these people with him. They're stopped in this place. And this person, this eunuch, he is reading the book of the Bible. He is reading the book of Isaiah chapter 52, which is one of the very many books of the Bible that prophesy Jesus Christ the Messiah. And so this is the Old Testament. This is hundreds of years before this person, Jesus Christ, even comes on the scene. This Ethiopian eunuch is actually reading about this person. And so he's reading through Isaiah 52, and the Holy Spirit nudges Philip to go and to basically meet this guy. And so what we see is there is this person who is reading the Bible, and he has an open heart. He's really trying to figure out what's going on. And so Philip approaches him and he asks him basically, do you know what you're reading? And the eunuch's response is, how can I know unless someone tells me? And so Philip begins to preach Jesus to him and to share Jesus. This is the person that's in Isaiah 52. Hundreds of years have passed. Now, this has been fulfilled. He died on the cross for your salvation. He resurrected again. I witnessed this. Now we have the power of the Holy Spirit. He's preaching the gospel to him. And the Ethiopian eunuch's response is, wow, what would prevent me from being baptized? And so he ends up finding a lake nearby, and Philip baptizes the Ethiopian eunuch. He comes up and Philip is gone. And so that's basically the end of the story. The eunuch ends up going off rejoicing because he has been baptized, and he knows that now he has salvation in Jesus Christ, the person who was prophesied hundreds of years before this. And so what we see is really amazing, because what we see, and I shared this in my Bible study, is that obviously we know that when we walk outside as believers, when we walk outside, there's not necessarily going to be a person sitting on the porch reading the Bible, because it's kind of an easy segue into that kind of conversation. But what we do see is people who are asking questions. We see people who are looking for hope. People who genuinely want to know. Now, note the genuine, because there's a big difference between people who have already had their mind made up. They don't want to hear anything you really have to say about this God, and definitely not Jesus. But then there are the people who are searching for truth. There are the people who say, I'm looking for truth, even if it compromises my lifestyle, even if it compromises my upbringing. And so there is a difference between people who are genuinely searching for answers with their heart. And so as believers, we are here on earth to meet those people where they are. However, what comes with that is the fact that as believers, you have got to be obedient to the nudges of the Holy Spirit. What would happen if Philip just decided to say, nah, I'm good. I'm good. I've done enough ministry today. I'm just going to go home and, grab some food and chill. Then this person who's sitting there, it may never, who knows? I don't know, have received the salvation and the answers that he was looking for. And so it says a lot about our obedience to God, because you don't know what type of divine appointments are ahead and that lie within your obedience. And so I want to encourage you that if you are a believer, and by believer I mean someone who has decided to follow Jesus Christ and considers themselves a Christian or living a Christian lifestyle, that you are empowered with the Holy Spirit in order to make these encounters happen. You are equipped. You are ready where you are. You don't need to go home and do 1,000 things. Now, what I'm not saying is that you shouldn't continue equipping yourself and studying and reading and worshiping and praying. Absolutely. I'm an advocate for that if you know me. However, what I'm saying is that God can use you where you are. And he will use you if you're obedient, and that it is not by your power that he does that, but it is in the power of the Holy Spirit. I believe that God will equip you, and that he will give you the answers in those moments. Even when you don't know what to say, he'll work through you. And so I love this story because it poses a couple different things to us. Again, the first is just being obedient. As a believer, you are here to do the work of God. And if you're not obedient, then it kind of defeats the whole purpose. I always say, what good is a vessel if it can't be used? Yeah, you're awesome, but it doesn't matter if you're not doing anything with it, specifically for the kingdom. And so obedience is really important. The second part is that understanding that everyone isn't against you, and that there are people who are genuinely seeking answers. They have questions, and they really do want answers, and that we don't need to be afraid or shy away from those conversations, because you never know what could happen. Even if it's a seed, if you lead someone to salvation, there's so many different things that can happen. And so it's really important that we are obedient in our walk, and that we're willing and able to have those conversations with other people. And so, I want you to be reminded that it's not about us, and that if we believe that eternity is real, then there's a lot of work that needs to be done here while we are here. And so this story is awesome for me because I just love how the eunuch was searching for truth. And he was asking questions. God met him where he is. So if you're watching this and you have questions and you genuinely are looking for answers, then I believe God will meet you where you are, and he will send you someone to answer you, and he will absolutely reveal himself to you. And so be encouraged by that. If you have any questions about this stuff, you can absolutely reach out to me as well. If you stumble upon my Instagram or my YouTube, DM me, send me a message. If you want to go on journey with us, we are still doing the book of Acts. You can go to my YouTube, and the link is in my bio on Instagram, and you can follow along with us every Wednesday. So we're journeying through the book of Acts right now. But anyways, I hope this message encourages you. If you are someone who sees this and you don't understand this Christian stuff, but you're kind of seeking answers, or you have some questions right now at this particular time in life, that you would be encouraged and that you would reach out. I believe God will meet you where you are. And for the person who is a Christian or a believer, I pray that this message would find you in boldness and in confidence and understanding that God can use you, and it's not about you. It is by his strength and in your weakness. We know that God's strength is made perfect in our weakness. And so we can boast in knowing that, hey, I don't have all the answers, but my God does, and he will use me as long as I am obedient to him and to his word. And so anyways, I hope this encourages you. Follow me if you haven't already. I'm going to be going through a lot of different Bible studies. We're also going to start answering a lot of popular questions that I am extremely passionate about. So if you know someone who can use this video, share it. If you aren't following me, follow me. I promise to be valuable content to your timeline. I'm by no means in the business of spamming or being here for good looks. So, holler at your girl. I pray all is well, and I'll see you guys next time.